Big news for Bitcoin as the final repayments of the Mt. Gox Bitcoin hack from 2014 have finally been made. Is this why Bitcoin is pumping? What's going to happen to that $2 billion? We'll talk about that. We got Magic Internet Money joining us to go over the Bitcoin charts. Is the bull market back? Are we going to hold above 60K? Are we going to get to 65? Or is this a bull trap that's going to send us back under $58,000? We're going to talk about that. We're going to look at the market, some of the altcoins, and the Fairshake Super PAC. They are slowly picking off the anti-crypto Senate and House of Representative members one by one. Who is in their eyesight next? This was a big proponent against crypto and Bitcoin. We'll talk about that. Also talk about meme coins. 10,000 meme coins were created in a 3-hour time span yesterday, after the Donald Trump and Elon Musk X Spaces literally broke the entire platform. We'll have that discussion and much, much more on today's episode of Sin City Crypto. Let's go.
Hola! It's your boy, Big Rob, back in the house. Welcome to Sin City Crypto. We're the entertainment-focused cryptocurrency channel where we take old, boring, and stale information, repackage that turkey up in a fun and sexy way. Las Vegas. We're not only the home of Sin City Crypto, but we're the home of Rare Evo. Things are ramping up. If you're a fan of Cardano, well, this is the epicenter of Cardano information this week. Charles Hoskinson is getting closer to sitting down on an interview with us. Excited about that?
Maybe. It's not confirmed.
That's why I said getting closer. So you got a nice black shirt today.
Yeah, make sure it wasn't faded, you know?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah,
Your
crazy.
tattoo's faded.
Yeah.
But go ahead, show it. Go ahead.
Show up.
What you got on your screen?
Okay.
Yeah. Guys, help us out. Repost this. We're trying to get RFK in studio, man. Do us a favor. Go to our Twitter page and repost this tweet and tag RFK. I want to bring him in studio. I can confirm that for all you ICP fans, we have Kyle Langham joining us in studio on Friday. We're going to record a ICP-only episode, which will air that day. And then we're also going to have him join the live show to talk more broad crypto. It'll be fun. We have some other people that are coming in studio, and so it's going to be a big week. We're excited, and we hope you are. And if you're going to be at Rare Evo, we'd love to link up with you. Maybe grab a drink, grab a beer, conversate, and make fun of Robin's faded tattoos. That'll be a lot of fun. Oh, great. You know, I mentioned yesterday, we did odds. What are the odds that Bitcoin and or crypto will be mentioned in the Trump and Elon Musk X? You were at
15%.
I was at 20. Mm-hmm. We were very well, way off. It was 0.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it was 0.
It was 0. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Not one time was it brought up or mentioned. You know what? I listened to the entire thing. You know what the cool thing was about that? It was literally like you were listening in on two people's phone conversations. That's what it felt like, which it technically was like a phone conversation. If you think about it, a former president of the United States and the richest man in the world were having a phone conversation, and over 1.3 million people listened in live. How unique and cool is that? And I think that's the future of media. There was a clip on Stephen Colbert where he brought on a news anchor from CNN, and he made a statement saying, CNN reports objectively, and the crowd started laughing. To which the anchor, the guest, was like, was that a comedy line? And he's like, no, it wasn't. And so that is the future of media, is going to be places like X, places like YouTube.
The interesting thing is that X, is being touted as the everything app, or at least that's, some
direction it's headed.
Yeah, some of the direction it's going. And, obviously you got a social media hub. You have a place where, the community can meet up and have these type of conversations. And also, you're going to end up having payments integrated into it as well. They also have AI with Grok built into the platform. So, you might ask yourself, like, why are we opening up with a Twitter conversation that had nothing to do with crypto? Well, I think it just signals to you what direction this app is going. And with finance and crypto inevitably going to be integrated into the app, it's obvious that this is going to be a very predominant sector in crypto. And it might not be right now, but maybe the way of sending payments through wallet addresses on your computer, on your MetaMask, I think those days might fall by the wayside, and we might just, have a Twitter account and like, hey, instead of Zelle me, hey,
X me.
yeah, send me some crypto through X, right? And I think that's the direction that we're going, right?
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like, pretty sure we can both agree that crypto and or blockchain will have some part in the future of X payments, right?
Yeah, I agree.
Whether it's Doge, whether it's blockchain payments, stable coins, I think at some level, crypto and blockchain will be integrated into what X is going to do with payments. Then you open up a whole new world of onboarding people into our space. It's going to be great. And as the world of blockchain and crypto moves to a more interoperable, cohesive space, it's only going to benefit the end user. It's going to benefit you watching. It's going to benefit the entire space and the financial system eventually, although I think that's going to take a little more time because the system is currently broken, but we're working on fixing it. Just give us a little bit of time.
Did the EU did they flip their wig? Did they break down?
Elon and Trump got sued by the United Auto Workers Union.
Yeah, I saw that. I know the EU was making those baseless.
And then every mainstream media headline, they focused on the technical glitch, and because there was a DDoS attack, so they were about 40 minutes late to the conversation. There was a massive DDoS attack, and then the numbers started ramping up, and then I might have been capped. Either way, there was definitely some technical glitches, but the conversation happened. It was 2 hours, over 2 hours long. A lot of the same talking points that Trump talks about. Nothing about crypto or Bitcoin. But again, it was the concept of being able to listen to two of the most powerful men in the world, essentially having a phone conversation. You were right there listening to every detail. Pretty interesting. I wonder if moving forward, it'll be more of an open platform where they'll bring people on stage, be able to ask questions. Think about that, Robin, where anywhere you are in the world, you talk about people holding rallies. We were talking about events, right? Crypto events, blockchain events, political events, whatever the case may be in certain cities. Imagine expanding that reach to the 300 million Americans that are living here, no matter which state they're living in, to be able to have a forum, ask questions, listen to the people speak, their favorite projects, whatever the case may be. So I definitely think that's the future moving forward.
And then real quick, I wanted to challenge the audience here. I know we opened up with talking about promoting this tweet here, but we got 4 retweets. So let's see how many retweets we can get by the end of the show. You think we can get up to 50?
I don't know. I already told people to do it, though.
Yeah, and I know you did. I'm saying
you're reaffirming.
Yeah, no, I'm putting a number here.
20
retweets.
Yeah.
I feel like we can get to 50.
You think so?
Let's see if we can get this post here up to 50 retweets on getting Robert Kennedy in studio. So we're in discussions with the team, but dragging their feet. So get on.
Sure, they're not busy or anything running a campaign, But we definitely look forward to having RFK on the show at some point. Hopefully it'll be this week. But I mentioned during that interview, Robin, 10,000 meme coins in 3 hours were launched on the back of this X conversation with Trump and Musk. Within a 3-hour window, an astonishing 10,000 new tokens were launched on the platform, and the platform is Pump.fun. I saw a couple posts where, people are pointing to Pump.fun as, the end of meme coins, right? Anyone can go on there, launch any coin. You're robbing liquidity, right? We talk about, retail's not here yet. So all the money that's flowing around is all the liquidity that's been sloshing around the markets for the last year and a half. Well, with these new tokens that are launching, if you have people that don't do the due diligence, now when they invest in BS meme coins and essentially honeypots or rug pulls, that liquidity gets drawn out of the entire crypto ecosystem. So a lot of people are pointing to that, Robin, and saying that platforms like Pump.fun are really harming the crypto space. And then you have, this. Justin Sun's Tron launches game-changing meme coin platform, Sun Pump. And apparently what's going to make this one unique is it will reduce fees and have strict security measures. It'll offer 99% discount on gas fees. And the platform requires projects to burn TRX token upon reaching a market cap of $69,420. Good job. Which could positively influence TRX's price. So I don't know. What are your thoughts on that? Do you agree with that sentiment, or do you have anything to add to this?
Not really. I just think that, people capitalizing on the meme coin sector, they're just squeezing it dry, right? Meme coins aren't going anywhere, but meme coin by proxy, I think that these platforms that come out that are trying to bring in some money that is flowing into the meme coins, it doesn't have any staying power, right? I mean, meme coins already have a hard time standing out, right? You have a couple outliers. You got Doge, SHIB, Pepe. You have a handful of projects, and I think there will be a few new ones that'll come into the market in the next year that'll catch everybody off guard. But there's going to be hundreds of thousands of meme coins launched in the next couple of years that are essentially going to go to zero and just gain people's money and lose people's trust. And so I don't care for this ecosystem. I don't care for anything that's built around meme coins. It's here to stay for the time being. I think that eventually meme coins will fade, and there'll always be a little segment of meme coins. But I think that over time, as financial instruments actually become usable and they start disrupting the current system that we have and the value increases, yes, those things will stand out. But I think that meme coins are going to fall by the wayside. And I think that especially the ecosystem meme coin products are definitely gonna just
So you're not
disappear.
a fan of the hot dog stand by SHIB?
No, man. No.
Let's see what Magic has to. Well, never mind. Let's see what Magic has to say about all this. If you're not familiar, Magic Internet Money, a TA guru, joins us every single Tuesday. And well, today is Tuesday, so Magic is here. Magic, what's up, brother? How you doing?
Living the dream, man. Just living the dream. You know it. Listening to you guys talk about meme coins.
Are you on Rob's side here? Are you fading the memes, bro?
I fade everything that isn't Bitcoin. I'm one of those guys. I am Michael Saylor light, so to speak. So I fade them long term. That doesn't mean they can't pump. And I always tell people my edge isn't in finding the new trend and the new meme coin trend. That's not what I do. So there are people out there that can do it. And if you can do that and you've got the edge and you feel like you can make money, more power to you. Make all the money you can. Better in your hands than someone else's.
That is true. But more important than making the money is keep the money. Don't get greedy. Keep the money,
True.
right? There's that meme. It's like you, and then there's a 10X in front of you, and then there's someone holding you back, and that someone is the 100X. But wait, it could 100X, right? People get just greedy. Magic, I want to jump into the markets here. If you want to queue up a Bitcoin chart while I kind of talk about the price action we're seeing, Bitcoin up 3% on the 24-hour, $61,000. Magic, are we so back? Are we so back?
We're not in a bad spot. We're not in a bad spot at all.
So is that a no?
We've been talking about. No, I mean, I'm still. I told you guys I probably am going to be hesitant to really give a verdict after this last move down for a little bit. Nothing entirely earth-shattering happened to the downside in terms of break of structure yet. You've seen your first sign of weakness, in my opinion, but we don't really have a confirmed downtrend in this overall uptrend. Like if I go to the daily chart, for instance, you can see this is fairly aggressive. Now we have started to see lower highs and lower lows form, but all in all, you're still maintaining, somewhat of a structure here. And that to me is more important to be neutral on than anything, because you don't want to just be like, we're going to 35K because I know I've got a yearly pivot there and I know those hit at an extremely high rate. Even if my gut says that, your gut's not always correct. In terms of the high time frames, though, and I really like sharing this on your guys' channel because I do think you guys have a lot of audience members that are here for the cycle. They're not here for, hey, can this guy give me a day trade today? In terms of what you're looking at, this is still the level at 64,990. Want to start seeing monthly closures above that. And if you recall, we talked about one other key level that was 62K. That was a former swing failure pattern from 2021, where you can see you formed your top, held it as resistance on monthly closures. And now you can see that we are attempting to start closing back above it again and holding it as support, which we did in both July and in June. And this buy up on the sweep of the previous month and previous quarter low, if closes above this, starts to look at least like it wants to challenge into this little, we'll call it a zone at 65K. And above that, I think you're pretty much.
Hey, Magic, sorry to cut you off, but would you call that a pretty nice bull flag there?
I don't know if I would call it a bull flag, but I do call it a channel. I'm not a pattern trader. I try not to do that, especially in anything that says bear or bull. Because I always, me, in my profile, it says don't be bearish or bullish, just take the best trade. Yeah. Regardless of how you feel, always take the best trade that's on the table. And in this case, the best trade was a long. So if you want to call it a bull flag, sure. If you want to call it a flag, you want to call it a channel, call it whatever you like. But that is something that we've been watching since all the way back in like March. We had this drawn up. It's not perfect. And I'll get rid of these two levels that are on the chart. If I can get my scrolling mouse to work, I've been having troubles with it here lately. It might need to be replaced, but you're essentially in a channel, right? So if we start breaking above some of these key levels we talked about and breaking out of this channel, if you want to call it a flag, go for it. It doesn't change how I've got my targets for the upside. I'm not doing anything with like measurements of, a flagpole or anything. I'd be much more interested in doing something like this, where I just do a expansion of it, meaning like what's 150% like, what's 200% look like? Like, there's 200% to the downside. If you went to the upside, you can go negative 100, and that puts you all the way up here. And if it were to hit that today, it would be like $81,000, $82,000, which is right in line with an area that I have for upside targets, right? I've got that on my chart already. Like those. So that's how I like to do things in negatives and expansions, so that we can see what does it look like if we expand this consolidation at a 100% ratio. The same thing can be done with Fibonacci tools. We've done that before here, but it is one of those things where it could be, if you wanted to view it as a bull flag and that was your thesis, and so you took this long here, you're probably sitting in a good spot, right? You probably feel pretty good. You have hit, for me, my initial take profit would have been taken here at 62. We talked about why that was a key level. I have it in my object tree, but I'll just show you. But it was your local gold pocket. And then if you went to just your basic levels that we just talked about at 62, where we know on a monthly basis, this level has been very important for quite some time, you're going to want to see this level reclaimed, right? So that is essentially just, if I was in that position and it wasn't, to me, finding a cycle position up here is, I wouldn't say ludicrous, but it's not the most risk adverse approach. So to me, this is a great place to at least lock some gains in. And then if it breaks out, it's just further conviction to maybe hold that position longer, what's left of it, right? But you really want to make sure you're taking care of yourself, because if price doesn't get through 65 and it rolls over and does start breaking below, specifically like on a monthly or quarterly basis, that is where the bears are going to come back out. Your first area of weakness that you would want to be aware of locally, so if you guys are interested in that type of thing, you really just want to watch 59K. 59K really needs to hold on like a material closing basis, and I mean something like a weekly, up to a monthly, because we have not closed a monthly candle below 59,088 in terms of a swing fail. So you can see we've defended this level for the last, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 months. 5 months in a row, this level has been defended on a closing basis, this low, so to speak. So people down here that are selling or shorting are just becoming fuel to range higher. So if you lose 59K, that's when you could start to kind of maybe have a little bit of concern that maybe we will re-challenge for the lows of this range. And there's still opportunity there, I think, as long as we don't live there. But another thing to kind of point to that before I, get off my soapbox of, TA here is, 59,000 does have other things here that's important. You can go to the periodic volume profile tool on TradingView. I think you have to have a certain level of subscription to TradingView to have it, but I could be incorrect as well. So I don't think it's free, though. I think it's not in their free version. But if you have a subscription to it, which most people who chart do, you would have this tool. You want to look at the monthly, and as well, if it'll generate here, as we look at this month, you can see we are up at the highs of the monthly profile. It's still only halfway finished. But if we look back in time and start taking a peek at what July left us, this is actually the July range. So in terms of how you want to see this,
Imagine,
play
what
out,
time frame are you on right now?
I'm just on an hourly chart. I just went down to something low time frame that would be, I guess, more palatable than a daily for the monthly chart. But you can see that your value area low for July is here. So if you're going to make this push and try to get to some of these upper levels, 59K, which is both a horizontal level, we've seen that a change of behavior occurs below that if we start closing down there on, higher time frames. But also it is the value area of the prior range. And when you start scrolling back a little bit more, which the little trackball thing on top, it just, for whatever reason, doesn't want to work these days. So I'm just going to do this real quick so it gives us what we need. What you'll notice is that you were trending up in value. You are now starting to trend down in value. So you do want to see price live up here for the next couple weeks and start holding on to this and maybe reversing that trend, so that you don't see these monthly profiles trending to the downside. Another really easy way to do that, if you're into tracking just averages, you can go to like a pivots tool. It's literally pivot point standard in trading view. You can say, I want to see the monthly pivots and I want to see the last 10, 12, whatever it is, 13 baker's dozen. And you can then go to whatever time frame you want. And what you can see is this is the average of price for each month. And so this average is basically formed from the previous month's price action. So this is the average price from this price action from the prior month, and so forth and so forth. And you notice they're trending up. And so you want to see those trend up and you want to see that continue. And as of right now, you're in a small downtrend, but if you can reverse field here and get back above 62K, you're above that last month's average. You would be trending up in profile as well. And things start to, look a little bit better. And you don't hear me saying, it's a 50-50. If we're living above, the median of this, right around 64.4, which is pretty close to that 6-month level, I mean, you got to look at that and say, bears had their chance, and you can't fight the trend. This is still an asset that does quite well historically for the cycle term that it has, and we are barely halfway through, a little over. So,
hey, Magic,
go ahead.
For the people watching who this might be their first cycle, or they're just like, I'm looking at a comment here from DDG said, within the last 6 months, everybody's screaming bull market, bull market, bull market, yet nothing happens. What, I know we talk about breaking certain levels, but for the people who are just waiting and are like, okay, like, how do we know if when Bitcoin breaks above this level, it's going to continue to go up versus go down? What are some things you look for in a chart? And maybe if you want to, kind of comment on what DDG said about, bull market, bull market, bull market, but price isn't really moving. I don't know if you have any thoughts on that, if you want to share with some of the people watching.
Sure. I mean, in terms of like what I look for on a chart, obviously you want to look at market structure, higher lows, higher highs. The trend is your friend, but when you're judging a breakout, it's a little different. So if you're looking at like, okay, I just got into Bitcoin here at the highs, it's exciting again. It sucked me in at between $60,000 and $70,000, and people keep telling me it's going to go to 100K. What I would do is I would start learning what confirms your thesis, and there's going to be multiple things that do for people. For us, we use things like delta and open interest. That's going to give us kind of a cue on what's going on. So if we, start approaching these highs and open interest is increasing into the highs with good, volume, good delta, and we're not seeing limit orders start to appear to halt price and absorb those orders and then reverse field, then yeah, we know the breakout's probably good and that we're in a position where we can continue to let our positions go higher to maybe the targets that we have. That would be how we do it. Some people use moving averages, like they might have a 1 hour or 4 hour strategy for that. Entry triggers and triggers for continuation are something that everyone's going to tell you that theirs is best. Even I get a little biased about the way we do things, but there are a lot of ways to trade it. There are channels out there like you guys use a little bit different. I think Indicator Suite that I use. I don't remember, who do you guys partner with that you guys use quite a bit?
LuxAlgo.
Yeah. I've seen you guys do that, and you guys have got momentum indicators on there and other things that, people, to me, those are a little more friendly to the everyday trader. Cause like once you get into order flow and stuff like that, it's a lot of information to just take in the moment. So things like that can be very helpful. And I would just recommend starting to learn that stuff. You don't have to become a day trader, but apply that to the higher time frames. You can apply those indicators to a daily time frame, and that'll keep you pretty grounded. I would always say zoom out a little bit.
And
Like,
and what
that's
I'll
the best way to go about it.
and what I'll kind of add, Magic, is, one thing I learned when I started doing options trading is, when you look at a chart, when you look at candles, right? One candle, whether it's an hour candle, 4-hour candle, 1-day candle, whatever, that represents 1 hour worth of traders, right? Those are people who, and arbitrage bots, who are buying and selling. And each candle tells a story of what the sentiment was in that time frame. And so on a weekly time frame, if you see long wicks to the downside and the price closes towards where it opened, but it's red, that tells you that even though bears try to push the price down, there was enough bulls in there to push the price back up. And so that, to me, if you look at a chart, or if you see and you're maybe overwhelmed by all the different indicators, I would say don't even put any indicators on. Just throw on an hourly, throw on a 1 day,
Really
and look at the
advice.
candles. Are they green? Are they red? Do they have long wicks or they have short wicks? How are the bodies? What does the last 5 candles look like? And you'll get a gauge on the sentiment of the market. And then also look at volume. Like, is there volume backing up the move? And these are some of the things you can look at if you're trying to figure out, hey, is this going to be a sustained rally or not? And I want to kind of bring Rob into this conversation. And Rob, I asked Magic, the question of, well, how are you like, okay, Bitcoin's price is moving. This is where it's going to start taking off versus, we're probably going to pull back down again.
I'm big into sentiment, and for me, my biggest takeaway is, especially when you're in the time range that we are at in the cycle where we're at post halving, is just look at historical data. And so we know that we're going to get big moves to the upside in a bull market. Now, when is that going to happen? Well, it typically happens after large consolidations, right? And so we've been at this 60K range. We broke 60K 6 months ago, back in February. And we know what happens when you get these long-term consolidations. And historically, it's been 3 to 4 months before we've had a breakout. Now we're at 6 months. Think of it like an earthquake where, you got 2 tectonic plates rubbing up against each other. Scientists are saying, hey, man, we're due for the big earthquake any day now. And then as the years go by and you don't get it, that earthquake, when it does pop, it's going to be massive. It's going to shake some buildings. It's going to knock some stuff over. And that's how I look at this, is that we should have had a breakout above 60K, out of the 60K range, going into a bull market where we should be in price discovery, I would say 2-3 months ago, and it's long overdue. And so for me, unless the breakout is going to be to the downside, which I know some people are subscribed to that idea, I think that we're going to actually see the opposite. I think we're going to get this big breakout to the 70, 80K range. It's going to be massive. It's going to be volatile, and it's going to move quick. And that's not just me just throwing out some idea like, oh, Bitcoin's going to get to 80,000, guys, just because Rob says it. No, just look at every cycle that we've had before in a bull market. Post-halving, consolidate, massive run. Then you get a little bit of a pullback, consolidate, massive run.
But many people argue that this cycle is different. We always talk about, but this time is different.
Every year you hear that.
But it is different.
Or every cycle.
We saw an all-time high before the halving, which we've never seen before.
To your point, every cycle is different. There are different variables, but at the end of the day, the story still falls in the same way. If it's a Marvel movie, sure, there's a different actor, there's a different villain that comes in. The Earth's going to get destroyed in a different kind of way, but at the end of the day, you have the rise of the hero, you have the downfall of the hero. It looks like everything is lost, and then all of a sudden they come back in a glorious finish, and you win. And you can change the characters, you can change it around slightly. But at the end of the day, the hero wins. And at the end of the day, the bull market wins. We might have a longer consolidation. We might break out earlier. But you know what? There is a supply and demand shock here. We are post-halving. We're 900 Bitcoin mined a day, 450. And there's so many buyers. Michael Saylor, and now you got nation states. You got presidents campaigning on it. It's
Kaylee, yeah. I have a question for both of you on this topic when you're done. I think you'll enjoy this one because you brought up a really interesting point with presidents and the characters change. Like the old characters from the prior cycles were quite comical, actually. Back in the I wouldn't say Hex or anything like that, but Arthur Hayes, for instance, at BitMEX, things like that, right? when looking at Bitcoin and you see this consolidation, which is going on 6 months versus normally we spend about 90 to 120 days post halving, so there is a little difference in the size of this consolidation. Do you think that the idea of the uncertainty of the political direction has a key in this? Because markets traditionally do respond in that matter, where if they know, like, Republicans have control of the House, but the Democrats have control of whatever, we know no sweeping legislation is going through. So the markets are free to do whatever they want because both sides are going to print money. We know how that works. In this instance, though, where you have one side that's actively stacking, crypto, not crypto friendly advisors. And these people have been very, very openly against crypto and continue to hold that stance. And she just added 2 more the other day. So it's one of those things where, do you think the market and the players, the guys that are now moving this market, which are institutions, they aren't the everyday person anymore. Do you think they look at that and maybe hesitate to put as much capital as normally we would have seen in a moment like this in the market where we'd be expecting these big moves? So that's why we're getting additional sideways. Because Bitcoin was designed to not be, according to Satoshi, it was designed to not be affected by politics or by governments. But I do think we're starting to see that a little bit. So I'm interested what you guys think, because you both
I think
are much more in touch with it.
Let me take this one first. I think it's a multitude of multiple things, right? I 100% agree with you. Markets don't like uncertainty, right? Like you mentioned, if we get Democrats, Republicans split down the middle in Congress, and it doesn't matter which part of the president is, that's great. Like you mentioned, no sweeping legislation. I also think about all the money that is in money market funds, Magic, that are earning 4 or 5%. Why the hell, especially now that inflation has gone down under that amount, why would anyone go risk on when they can get a 2% variable on the inflation? They can beat out inflation by 2% with essentially zero risk. Then you have people like Warren Buffett and some of these companies who have large piles of cash on the sideline. You have geopolitical things going on overseas. So I think there's a lot of uncertainty. But again, we're talking about $7 trillion that is either sitting on the sidelines or is in 5% money market funds that when the Fed starts cutting interest rates, those days are gone. And so when that money starts to flow back into the market, where is that money going to go? And I have a hard time believing that these advisors, that these wealthy people, these smart people, the smart money, they're not going to look at Bitcoin ETF, Ethereum ETF, and the ecosystem as a whole and say, why don't we deploy 1%, 2%, 5%, whatever the amount is, to Bitcoin, to Ethereum, to an index fund, to whatever they decide to deploy it to? I find it a hard time believing that they're not going to at least have that conversation. Those are kind of my thoughts. But I definitely think that, yes, the political landscape is kind of giving people some hesitancy.
I know. I think it's more or less in regards to the fact that we had that early surge in price, early surge in liquidity. And so you had the ETF go live in January, and that brought in a price surge that was way early in the cycle. And so, and my thing is I don't think we would have got to 60K without the ETF. I think we would eventually have got there, and I think that eventuality would have came late this year. And because it came early, we got the early pump, but we still haven't seen that typical crypto pump. And I think this all lines up with, the election. And we see it now. You have Kamala Harris.
But to be fair, Robin, every halving cycle has lined up with an election.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So we had the pump early because of the ETF. And so we've had this long-term consolidation of 60K, and we're like, hey, this is strange. It's outside the norm, right? We're in a bull market, and we're, instead of breaking out above 70K in this 6-month window, we would have typically seen it in 3 to 4 months. And I think it's because the ETF went live before the halving, right? In which we got a new all-time high before the halving. And so what I think is going to happen is that we're going to get the typical crypto pump that we would get in a 4-year cycle at the same time that we're expecting it, which would be right around September, October, November, somewhere in there. And so that pump is still coming. And then you couple that with the ETF flows, and I think we're going to get this massive parabolic move to the upside. And the printer is starting, the rates are going to get cut next month. It's not even really up to discussion, right? I think it's a foregone conclusion that we're going to get a rate cut. On top of that, you got Kamala Harris talking about she's going to not tax tips, which is essentially a form of money printing, right? You're allowing a large percentage of Americans here in the states that earn income through tips that aren't going to pay taxes on it, that are essentially going to keep more money without. They're going to keep more money and have more money to spend on the economy. And you take that and you take that and she's talking about like running that like soon, right? Because if you're in office, you're campaigning on not taxing tips. Why not just do it now, right? I mean, you're in office. I mean, you're not the president, but Biden's so the executive office's press briefing that came out and she said, hey, Biden supports this cutting tips. And so maybe as a Hail Mary to gain the voters prior to the election, they'll just straight, not tax this. Also going to cut the Fed rate. I know that's not in the hands of the executive branch, but let's be real. I'm sure they whisper amongst each other. And then on top of that, you have quantitative easing starting back up, buybacks on bonds.
You mentioned timing and prices. I want you to take a look at, so the last halving cycle we had was 2020, right? Halving happened in May, and then we saw big rally in July. September has historically been a down month for Bitcoin. As you see, the average return has been negative 4.78%. But you take a look at October. October historically, going back to 2013, there's only been 2 years that October has brought us a negative return on Bitcoin. We take a look in 2020, October brought 27.7%, and November historically, on an average, has been the most bullish month for Bitcoin. And in 2020, we saw a 43% increase. Going back to 2016, September, positive 6%, October, 15%, and then we ended the year 4 consecutive green months. And so what will we see in September? History tells us we'll see a red month. But then October, November, going into to the holiday season, we should see a big rally from Bitcoin. And of course, by that time, the election will draw near as well.
And then real quick, I just want to take a brief intermission, give a little love to the chat here. We had Alex O gave a $10 super chat. Says he loves Magic Internet money. Also, Crypto Billy, $50 super chat. Can we get an explosion of some kind going on here? And so we got $50 super chat. Thank you, Billy. He was saying, when having a bad day, give it to someone else. Giver's gain. So a big shout out to you. Also, we got a lot of new people in the chat. So if you're new, say hello. We'd love to give you a little shout out. Just a few names I spotted out. We got Evan Casey, DDG, AMH, Jason Bourne, Uncle Benz, Avery, Kuba, Dan, Aaron. We got Peas to say, Mwahaha, Mark Dutch. To all of you, hola! Welcome to Sin City Crypto.
Also, shout out to Muhaha, wife of the year candidate. She said her husband is taking a shower, so he told her to watch the show and give him the Cliff Notes.
Shout
out to you, Muhaha. And
don't drop the soap.
Okay, that's
what? Is that the wrong shower?
Anyways, oh God, guys, if you enjoy Magic Internet Money, I am going to prompt his. I'm going to prompt his Discord channel. I highly recommend you go in there. A lot of great conversation about TA. You can learn more. You can chat with Magic and the team, and the community is really, really good. So joins us every single Tuesday. Magic, we love having you on the show, man. We love your perspective. We love your charts. And we just love you, man. We've been doing this for quite a while. I think you were one of our first TA guests that we started bringing on regularly. So it's been great having you on, man.
I met Rob a long, long time ago on Around the Blockchain, and my camera froze at the end. I didn't get to participate. So there was just this shot of me frozen in time with like my mouth gaping open. And so I'm glad you guys gave me a second look. That wasn't a great look for me.
Magic, you're a good man, my brother. We appreciate you, and thank you again, man. We'll see you. We'll see you next week.
Bye, guys.
Take care.
Later.
I did mention, this whole Mt. Gox thing that's been hanging over our heads
for 10 years. How have they not?
It's over. It's over. Okay, relax. It's over. Their last 34,800 Bitcoin has been gone out. Okay. Will a massive $2 billion Bitcoin dump crash the market? The answer is no. Mt. Gox repayment is in its final stage now. Around $3.2 billion in Bitcoin has been paid back to the creditors, and around 127,000 of those recipients did not sell a single Bitcoin. And so while everyone was worrying, Mt. Gox are going to dump on the market, they did the opposite. They held. Which we had this discussion so many times throughout the years of the people that were buying Bitcoin back then, when they get their, now we talked about getting their Bitcoin back or getting the dollar value back, and they got the Bitcoin back. And when we found that out, we said, hey, look, I don't think a majority of people are going to sell. Of course, some people are going to sell, but I think the majority are going to hold, which they have. And so with that out of the way, you got the FTX. Well, FTX actually the opposite. We're going to get a liquidity surge towards the end of the year as people are paid back in dollars. And so all that has already been either liquidated, taken care of. That cash is sitting in a bankruptcy account right now that will be paid back to the FTX creditors towards the end of the year. We talk about an influx of money and capital. These are people who have forced to sit on the sidelines for the last 2 years. And let me tell you something. If we haven't had that massive rally going into the end of the year and Bitcoin is still hovering around 60K or 58K, altcoins or ETH is under $3,000, if that happens, watch out for a massive surge of liquidity into the markets towards the end of the year as Celsius begins to repay people with cash. You agree with that?
Yeah, it's finally over, and you know what? That's my thing. I don't know why it took 10 years. Things on blockchain are supposed to move fast, right? How long does it take for a block to come?
It's a bankruptcy.
I don't care. Blockchain takes, or Bitcoin,
well, some blockchains take a lot
Bitcoin
longer.
takes to 8 minutes to set to 8 to 10 minutes to settle a transaction. Yeah. Have you seen? You got Ramaswamy. He urges Harris to clarify her crypto stance for partisan unity. And so, you know, he
has actually clarified stance. Yeah. Breaking news.
Well,
yeah.
He was on CNBC.
There are those who argue, who think if you're a single voter on crypto, that this could lose her the election if she doesn't come out and embrace it. Look, Trump was all for the not taxing tips. Now she's all for. Do you think she will ultimately embrace crypto as an industry?
I predict her verbiage will. And I do think that part of the reason why is you see Trump's speech at the Bitcoin conference. It's just a matter of competing for votes that she's going to adopt a thoughtful position. Now, speaking as an American, not from a partisan perspective, I think that's a good thing. I think we should want great debate in the marketplace of ideas. Even if she offers a thoughtful digital assets framework or policy, even if I don't agree with all of it, I think that'll be a good thing for the country. But what I challenge Kamala Harris to do is not just cite the pieties and the words. Go into detail. Say what you actually believe about self-custody of assets. Say what you actually believe about whether you think Gary Gensler should continue as the leader of the SEC. So I think those specifics are going to matter a lot, Kelly.
For sure, but is what you're saying is just a general position of openness is probably all the industry really is looking for. This idea that it's not a partisan issue, that Republicans are for it and Democrats are against it.
It should not be a partisan issue. Now, what I think you are seeing is this tendency to really embrace whatever wins her the most votes. But when you're looking at your question, Andrew, of how do you assess the seriousness of that, the metric to use is how specific she actually gets on those policy proposals.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
And, you know, the only candidate that has done that is RFK, who has come out and been specific about exactly what he plans on doing, the vision of blockchain and crypto interwoven into the financial system. Trump, to a certain extent, has been more outspoken, and I believe that all politicians pander to get votes. But it's clear and obvious which side is pandering the most, right? You have one person that has shown up to events, that has done, NFTs that, you know, there's a bunch of tokens. I don't know, it doesn't have anything to do with the tokens, but you have that side. And then you have another one who just seems to just say what's popular. And yeah, we're going to be pro crypto. And as Rob says all the time, you are literally in office right now. You can do something. We know Biden's not making decisions. You can hop in and say, hey, Joe, I think we should get rid of Gary Gensler and
Joe, wake up. Wake
Pastor.
up. Joe.
Well, he's in Delaware.
Grab this pen. Grab this pen. Sign right.
But the crypto industry's voice has definitely become This is the loudest I've ever seen it. I've been in the space since 2016. I mean, look at this, Rob. Look at this, Robin. What the hell just happened there? Rocco, can you pull up my laptop? So crypto industry committing $12 million to dethrone Senator Sherrod Brown from Ohio, says the Political Action Committee. The crypto industry's leading political action committee, Fair Shake, announced 3 U.S. Senate races intends to spend major amounts to influence, including Ohio, Arizona, and Michigan. The Ohio race pits a crypto ally, Bernie Moreno, is the chairman of the Senate Banking Committee, which I might add, Senator Elizabeth Warren also sits on. Sherrod Brown, a Democrat who's been reluctant to allow crypto legislation to advance in his committee. And just so you know who this man Sherrod Brown is, this is from banking.senate.gov. These are some of the things he said about crypto. These are his words. These crypto catastrophes have exposed what many of us already knew. Digital assets, including cryptocurrency, stablecoins, and investment tokens, are speculative products run by reckless companies that put Americans' hard-earned money at risk. Not the government that keeps spending and printing money, putting Americans' hard-earned money earned and savings at risk. Not surprising from an industry that was created to skirt the rules. Whether it's Facebook Libra or the explosion of crypto, I've always been concerned about shiny new products that really just offer another way to profit off the backs of working Americans while threatening the real economy. And the person that this Fair Shake is pouring money into is this guy. He recently did a interview on Fox Business, and this is what he had to say. Let's take a listen. This is Bernie Moreno.
Bernie, I want to get your reaction to crypto's huge role in this election cycle. With one super PAC willing to dish out over $100 million to support pro-crypto lawmakers. What do you think about this? Is this a big deal? Real money having a real impact on crypto and support legislatively for digital assets?
Well, as you know, I started a blockchain company. That was a commercial application of blockchain for car titles. Very familiar with crypto.
The guy is running for Senate, and he started a blockchain company. Keep that in mind, okay?
I sold my Bitcoin, so I didn't want to have any nonsense from liberal reporters saying that I'm pro-crypto because of financial interest. By the way, that cost me a lot of money. I sold it last year. But here's the reality. If you went to a sporting event, threw a baseball out into the stadium, whoever caught that ball is more qualified to regulate crypto than Joe Biden or Sherrod Brown or Elizabeth Warren. We need people who understand the technology, know that it's essential to give them regulatory certainty so that this technology and future technologies get developed here in America and these jobs and technology doesn't go overseas. And we're on the verge of that. And the crypto community understands this election is an existential threat to their existence here in America.
Bernie, want to get...
I mean, this is pretty exciting, man. This is pretty exciting, which is, you know, one of the other reasons why I believe we should have term limits is because, you know, whether it's every 20 years, every 30 years, every 10 years, you have new things that are happening. And in this case, we're going through a financial revolution. And at the end of the day, this house of cards that these governments have built on top of fake money is going to collapse. And so which industry is going to come in and reshape it? We believe it's the crypto industry, which is why we started a business, spent almost $500,000 building out a studio and a production quality here on YouTube and other channels. But I believe you're going to see more and more of people like this. And you have a senator running that has started a blockchain company. And so this is pretty big. Also, you know, you have the angle of, look, we're spending money to get pro-crypto politicians in Washington, D.C. And so I think the future looks so bright for crypto, especially here in the U.S. I know it's kind of been a dark cloud hanging over our industry for the last 4 years with everything happening with Gary Gensler and all the retaliatory lawsuits, all the bogus lawsuits, the courts essentially forcing the SEC to finally approve a Bitcoin spot ETF. I think once we get the right people in place and more people become pro-crypto, I think this thing is going to accelerate to the point where you're one day going to look up and you'll be like, holy shit, what just happened? What are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I agree.
Wow. Good thoughts there, Robin. I want to take a look at the rest of the markets here. And so Bitcoin's at $60,880. I know Magic already did a deep dive into the Bitcoin price, but I think the winner here, man, it has to be Ethereum. You know, BlackRock, $1 billion. Their ETF is about to have $1 billion in assets under management. Grayscale, for the first time, had positive inflows into their Ethereum product, and so we know Ethereum is deflationary once we see more transactions and more things happening on the network. What is this going to look like? ETF flows, and then you start seeing the bull market return, token trading, things happening on Ethereum. We know BlackRock launched a fund, a tokenized fund on Ethereum. All these are going to come into the network. Transactions are going to go through the roof, as are transaction fees. Hopefully not. Maybe they'll fix something. But it'll cause the token to become deflationary. So I just feel like there's just this snowball that's been rolling down the hill, right? And it's the multiply effect, right? As it gets bigger, every time it 2x's, it just bam, bam. And next thing you know, this thing starts crashing through the walls. And we see Ethereum at $10,000, $12,000, $15,000.
Yeah, I think this is the most undervalued high cap project there is right now. Just because of the surge of liquidity, as you mentioned, because of its recent drop in price. I mean, think about it this way. You know, a month ago, not even a month ago, like 3 weeks ago, Ethereum was sitting at $3,500. Bitcoin's still sitting at 60,000. And so you're on discount versus Bitcoin. And this product is seeing substantial net inflows, more so than Bitcoin at the current moment. Now, we know that's probably not going to last, but you have a shiny new product that's going to bring in a ton of new money. You have people that are taking profits out of Bitcoin. You got people in Wall Street that already have had success with the Bitcoin ETF that are probably looking at, hey, is Ethereum the next play? Well, the answer is yes. And so how much money is going to flow into this on the ETF? That I'm not exactly sure, but I do know that going into a bull market, going into the election year where all stock, where the stock market just rallies in general at this time of the year on a re-election cycle. And so massive discount. I can't stress to you how important it is that Ethereum's under $3,000 at the moment. I think that we're going to be looking back at this 6 months from now, and we're kicking ourselves in the butt, be like, damn it, why didn't I get some Ethereum at 3,000? The same way we're like, man, why didn't I buy any Solana at $20, man? I know it's not going to be to that magnitude where you're going to get a 20x off of its bottom recently, but I think the swing trade there is going to be very obvious and apparent in hindsight, especially at the price that it is now. And then big shout out to Jimmy, $50 super chat. He put 1 cent more than Billy just to slight the man here, but big shout out
Messed
to you.
up, Jimmy.
And then
We appreciate your money, though.
Yeah, and then also a couple of new faces as well. Sebastian, ICAM fan, Bimmer House, Jack Morris, Crypto G, Javier, ET, Pierce Christie, to all of you, hola! Welcome to Sin City Crypto. And then at the start of the show, we discussed the post that we had. We asked you to retweet. We're trying to get Robert Kennedy in studio. We're in discussion with their team. They're dragging their feet. We want to beat
Stop
the
saying
extra.
they're dragging their feet. They're probably watching the show. Guys, we don't think you're dragging your feet. We know you're busy.
So we're at 8 retweets. We're trying to get this thing to 20 or 50. We're a little shy there. So do us a favor. Go retweet this thing. We want to get some big guests here in studio. He's in town. He'll be here Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So
they're having a fireside chat with Charles. It'll be great. I do want to give a big thank you to today's channel sponsor, Seed Hunter. If you guys have been watching our show, you know we've partnered with Seed Hunter to bring you a platform that allow you to invest just like the venture capitals do. You know, we always talk about, hey, these guys got in at 20 cents and sold at $200. Well, now you have that potential as well, as typically the barrier to entry is in the hundreds of thousands of dollars. But with Seed Hunter, you can go on, create an account, which we have a link in the description, and then you can see all the different projects that are doing retail funding rounds. You can get all the information on the projects, such as when their token is going live, what does their white paper look like, who else have they partnered with, how much money have they raised. You can take a look at the fully diluted market cap and what vesting period you should expect if you decide to invest in certain projects. Just know that, of course, every investment has its risks, but If you want something where a lot of the VCs are getting into and you want a piece of that pie and you think this thing could potentially 100x, Seed Hunter is your platform. We want to thank them for sponsoring today's show. I do want to talk about this as well. We haven't, last cycle, the metaverse was massive, right? Mm-hmm. You have said numerous times on the show that the metaverse is dead. Well,
it's dead.
I'm coming with some facts here, okay? Half of the 10 most valuable companies on planet Earth are making metaverse hardware. Now, and I'll get into the context of the article here, but just that headline, are you still going to say metaverse is dead?
Yes.
Okay, now hold your thought there, okay? Microsoft is reportedly looking to take on Apple's Vision Pro headset with new hardware it will develop in partnership with Samsung. This would mean that 5 of the 10 most valuable companies by market cap, including Apple, Google, Meta, Microsoft, and NVIDIA, are currently developing new metaverse gear. According to the report, Microsoft plans to order hundreds of thousands of OLED panels from Samsung for a device to be mass-produced in the next 2 years. And despite what the tech media world seems to want you to believe, the market for both virtual reality and metaverse hardware is expanding. Marketing hype and confusion over exactly what the metaverse is over the past few years has led to the perception that the metaverse is dying. So, you still think the metaverse is dead?
Metaverse is dead, man. You know what?
So you're sitting here telling me that companies like Microsoft, Apple, NVIDIA, and Google, and a company that completely rebranded their name, a multi-billion-dollar, trillion-dollar company, they're investing in an industry that is dead. That's what you're saying?
Metaverse is
See
dead.
how stupid you sound if you say yes.
Metaverse is dead. You know what they're building? They're building an entertainment product. It is an alternative to a desktop PC. It is an alternative to the television. What it is not is a social media platform that everybody's going to play on, at least not in the foreseeable 3 to 8 year future. What we have here is a headset that you watch movies on, that you can work Excel spreadsheets, that industry professionals can use with augmented reality to make their job more efficient. Surgeons are using it. Automotive industry is using it. You have engineers using it in warehouses. There are things that it is best suited for. What it's not suited for is putting on a headset and running around in a make-believe planet that is the ecosystem is powered by blockchain. And if you think that they're building, you think that these companies are building it so that way they can create a better looking Decentraland, you're mistaken. They're building an immersive entertainment video headset. That's what they're building. And the fact that they want people, they want to push this idea that people are going to put the headset on and scrap their Facebook, scrap their Instagram account. They're going to scrap their Snapchat, their TikTok, their X, and what they're going to do is run around in some avatar and some open world and then just bump into people and then be like, "Hey, how you doing? Hey, what?" No, that's not going to happen. Now, eventually, it will materialize into that. I agree. Eventually, there will be some form of metaverse, but not in the next 10 years. What you have is just a big-ass computer stuck to your face.
But the point,
and then
your point is fallible, because when you say something is dead, that means it's not coming back, right? Dead people don't come back unless you're the Undertaker in WWE. So by you saying the metaverse is dead, well, you should instead say that the current version of the metaverse is not what the metaverse is going to look like 8-10 years from now. But you saying the metaverse is dead goes against everything you just said.
It's dead, man.
It's not dead.
It is. Dead.
I want to know what the chat thinks. Do you guys think the metaverse is dead, or is it going to come back? Doesn't have to come back in the same form. Come back in any form. Put a 1 if you think the metaverse is dead. Put a 2 if you don't think the metaverse is dead. And just so you're clear, a virtual reality space in which users can interact with a computer-generated environment and other users. That is what the hardware is being built for. That is what, I'm not saying Decentraland is the future of metaverse, but to say that it is dead.
TikTok has broken us. TikTok and Instagram has broken us. People's attention span are way, way, way too short. They want to interact with other people. They want to have it in a feed that comes at you in a little 3 to 5 second packet, and then with images. What they don't want to do is have a loading screen, the headset, and then loading, and then you hop in and you're like wandering around. No, you want to know, hey, what are my friends up to? What's going on? Who's in vacation in Belize? Like, that's what you want to know. That's what you're hopping on for. And the fact that you think that people are just going to hop on in this little playground and then just hang out there all day and then just end up being a giant couch potato and that's their entire world. No, I think that people are going to get their media fix, their social media fix through the computer that's already in their pocket. And the cell phone is not going anywhere. And you know when the metaverse will take off? When the cell phone is obsolete. When the computer in your pocket is obsolete. That is when the metaverse will take off. And when you have something that's wearable, perhaps some glasses. Dead? Okay. Will there be a metaverse in the next 50 years? Yes. Yes. There you go. Will we see it in the next 10 years? From an investing perspective, from a technology perspective, from where the direction of things are going, right now, in the next foreseeable future, in the next 3 to 8 years, there's going to be no metaverse project that's going to just eliminate social media. It's not here and it won't be. The tech is too far behind. The frame rates for the headsets are way too low for it to seem realistic. Nobody's even nailed this thing yet. I mean, the closest you have is the Apple headset. Even then, that one's got tons of flaws. Go look at the reviews on those things. It has a battery. It lasts for 1 hour. 1 hour? And then you got to walk around with a freaking wall charger. And so that's the cream of the crop. That's your $600 headset. 1 hour, bro.
$3,500.
No, the Oculus.
Pro? Oh, I thought you were talking about. You said Apple.
Yeah, Apple is
Quest
like
Pro.
It's like the Quest Pro. That's
No. The Apple Vision Pro, $3,500.
Is it?
Unless it came down.
I thought it was like 5,000.
Something like that.
Anyways,
3,000 to 5,000.
The thing is, it's the price is too high, and I agree. As technology is coming here, where I think the metaverse will eventually materialize will be in wearables, or perhaps if you were to tell me like the computer chip. What's the Elon
Neuralink?
The Neuralink. I think that would make more sense. You can kind of like, just sit on your couch and then just touch your temple or something, and then next thing you know, you're running around.
That's too weird.
But to wear this giant shoebox on your face and then pretend like you're gonna wear that every day, every hour of the day, checking your social media account. Now, sorry.
So in other words, metaverse is not dead.
It's dead.
Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Got a lot of big stuff happening this week, so you don't want to miss any of our content. And with that being said, Rocco, thank you all so much for tuning in. To all the new people that joined us on the live show today, welcome to the community. Make sure you subscribe, ping that notification bell, and go check out all of our videos that we've done on our channel. Until tomorrow, my friends, we'll see you. Peace.
Sin City, crypto. Everybody know we here for entertainment and info. Gonna show you how to get that big dough. So every day stay tapped in for big facts, no capping. With Bitcoin, if you're in, then you win. We divide the pie with no fraction. It's Big Rob, David. I spit the game, but they gave it. Name the coin, it's your favorite. I got dry powder, why save it? To the OGs, new beginners. Special shout out to the well members. Buy the dip, sell winners. Ain't really nothing you can tell sinners. Tune in for the latest new flavors. They gonna teach us mean coins. They polarizing like barbecue chicken pizzas. I laugh with a major grin. Laggers, we trade them in. Baddies, they came to sin. And sinners gon' play to win. Screaming, hola, till my bags are flowing over. Hold ya to the moon and to the solar. Won't I? Don't be letting FOMO control ya. It's over.
Couple more, thank you very
When
much
the
for the
tornado
support.
close ya.